So here we go, taking the rear wheel out. I've got it chopped up here. I've put a couple of tyres on the front so that it doesn't wobble too much, but the wheel is clear. In fact, I think I'll tighten that side strap up a little bit more. There we go. That'll work. Okay, so first thing I'm going to take off is this. I often find with chain guards that I honestly don't know how they put them on. It's one of those things where you can't get them on with the wheel in, but if you take the wheel out and put them on, then you can't get the wheel back in. And so this one is fastened just here on the swinging arm, and there's another little mounting on the cross piece of the swinging arm. So having taken those nuts and bolts out, see what I mean? Now you wouldn't have been able to get the wheel out because it would have caught inside that. So I guess we're just going to have to hold it up while we take the wheel off. So on these, the brake plate, the torque of the brake is taken up in this big plate. So there's a bolt on the brake plate that comes through the swinging arm end plate here. So we'll take that off. And a nice big washer. Then there's the nut here. You notice these have been pre-slackened. That word is starting to drive me mad. I mean, you get things like pre-planned. You know, it's either a plan or it isn't a plan. How can it be pre-planned? Alright. There we have. This is really seized into here. So let's see if we can get this brake arm off. No, too small. Too big. I'm going to break down and use an adjustable. Hopefully. Oh, look at that. Well stuck on there. That off first. So if we just pop that into there. Now, what was I saying about making sure you tied things up tightly? There we go. So, now, take our big washer and the snail cam adjuster out. Oh, of course, Michael. Dimwit. These early Enfield hubs are a QD1. So actually I didn't need to take that off. We're going to take this one out of here. So my whinging about the chain guard actually was a little premature as well. Perhaps I should bring it around this side and show you this. There, now you can see what we're doing. So just as with the QD wheel that I showed a long time ago when we were doing the trials bike and I was talking about wheels and spokes and things, this is one of the quickly detachable ones, which is designed to let you take the wheel out to work on the tyre without disturbing the brake and the chain and everything. Do is we take this part of the wheel spindle out, which screws into the brake drum, comes. Oh. Yeah. I think we're going to have to fasten this back up. It's getting a bit wibbly wobbly. Let's put these ties back on here. This shouldn't get in the way, I don't think. At least while we get the wheel out. So this wheel spindle comes out. As I say, this hasn't been out of here probably for over 30 years. You know, this thing's so seized up, what I'm going to do is just slide the wheel out in one. As soon as we've got the chain guard up out of the way. Now what would have happened, of course, is I would have taken this out if it wasn't stuck. Oh, there we go. There's where it's stuck. And then we would have taken this spacer out and the speedo drive, and then that would have left a big enough gap here to pull the wheel off the brake drum, and then we could have taken the wheel out and left that all fastened to that side. But as I say, 30 odd years of never having been moved. We're just going to get this out any way we can. Now, I'm going to have to, I think, pull the front end up. Give us some clearance here. All right. And there we go. Whoop. Catching on the ties. There we go. Okie doke. Now I can get in here, take the mudguard and the seat off. And that, of course, now will come out, fastened in with bits of string. I wonder if we're going to be able to find the original colour anywhere on this. Obviously the tanker being painted in black. Okay, so let me just undo some bolts here. You'll see there's a little grab rail, and then once the saddle's off, a couple of more bolts in here, and all these bits will come off, and then we'll come back. Wait a second, I just looked in the thing before I switched this off, and of course I realised that everything I just told you couldn't see. So here we go. I'll repeat it. We're going to take this grab rail off on either side, and once we take a couple of bolts out here, the saddle will come off, and then we can take the mudguard off and these side boxes, and then I'll fight the footrests and things like that, and we'll come back then. Now I've had this soaking for a while, so let's see if these want to come off. Alright, so far so good. So far, but not all the way. Isn't that just typical? How do we get a... Oh God. These don't look like the original bolts, they're little screw-headed ones that somebody's put in. Of course, they're turning a bit, and they're just where you can't get at them. Bagger! Try a different screwing driver. Oh God, that's gone in a bit better. Well, I can even screw it with a screwdriver end. Okay, one side done. This one has a square nut on it. Oh, come on. How many places can it be bolted on? Well, that's bolted to that, but we've undone that. That's just a lip onto there. Don't see. Still seems to be fastened to the mudguard. Oh, there. There! Would you believe it? Let's see what size. I was thinking that those bolts wouldn't matter because this bracket's coming off, but they do. Okay, there's a socket and an extension somewhere. Do. Aha. All right, I'll have to use this one. You bugger. That's a bolt where it's almost impossible to get to the other side. You know, it's one of those things where you could get to the bolt if the saddle wasn't there, but the bolt is holding the saddle on. Who designs these things? This might involve a certain amount of swearing and certainly more video time than it's worth. So let me switch you off yet again. Now I got the far side off, but this one is almost impossible to get to. So I'm going to take the mudguard and the saddle off and then I can probably get into there easier. But you know, why make it like that? Come on, old son. Right, one. Voila! Well, that wire I think has served its purpose in life. Okay. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, the bottom of that looks pretty good, so hopefully we can use the seat base. Now then, let's take those off. Oh, it's actually got two little leather belts holding the cable on there. Maybe they were standard fittings. Now then, I'll show you something here which has intrigued me ever since I came to the States. You know, at home, if you want to join some wires, you use a terminal block. Well, when I first came here, I went into a hardware shop and asked for a terminal block. I'll probably have to zoom you in a bit for this. In fact, I'll walk you right in, because this is interesting. Oing, oing, oing. There you go. So as I say, I went in and asked for a terminal block and got blank looks. So as often happened when I first came here, I had to either draw a picture or tell them exactly what I was wanting. So I told them I wanted to join some wires together. So they said, what you need is this. Can you see that? Let me put it on there and check that you can see it. It's known as a wire nut. Right. Well, what it is a little sort of plastic thing, and inside, which you won't be able to see, there's a metal part which has a sort of conical thread in it, a tapered thread. And what you do is, where have they gone? You twist your wires together, you jam them in there, and you turn that, and that's it. A wire nut. Still don't believe it. Okay. Little cross-cultural explanation there. So let's see. I do like the way that zooms and stays in focus. But then Nikon, very good lenses. I like their cameras. That's what I use for my stills photography. Which any of you are even remotely interested, there's a whole pile of Harleys going by. I don't know if you just heard that. There's some more of them. I've lost my pliers. I just had, there they are. All sound and fury, as our good bard said. Very little power. Now then, the back of the battery box thing forms part of the rear mudguard, in effect. So we should only have, if memory serves me right, yep, one big bracket on the top. More bolts just where you can't get at them. That's too big, Michael. Oh, let's just slip in. Boing, boing, boing. You see, this is what happens when I work in the morning. I am not a morning person. That's the really great thing about being retired. I get up about 8:30 in the morning. When I was running the workshop, I used to open at 10. Oh! Ah well. Thought we were having too much luck. And that one looks to be smaller. So where are we going to get those off with? Now it's just fractionally smaller than that. Here's a little tip for you. I've found, whether it's because they go in such small increments, that when you get these odd nuts and bolts that don't just seem to be quite right for a Whitworth spanner, metrics rather than SAE ones get to be closer. That, you see, could well be a 13mm. Let's give it a try. Oh, yes, it fits, but this nut is really, there it goes. Actually, the other handy thing about metrics being really close to Whitworth is that you can, if you've got to make something special up, rather than cutting up your good Whitworths, you can very often get away with cutting and grinding a metric one. So I've made a few sort of special little cranked ones and what have you, using metric sockets. See, 13mm. Of course, the other thing on an old bike is there's always the possibility that somebody's replaced the original bolts with metric ones. Although the chance of that happening here in the States is pretty thin. Doing. Did I start to say to you that if you're in the least bit interested about seeing any of my photographs, that you could go to my other website, and then I stopped saying it? Well, if I did, it's Son of York Photography. www.sonofyork.com. Ow! Ow, there's that sciatica again. Ooh, God, that pinches. Thought so, that damn thing's smaller. So these bolts have been replaced because one is smaller than t'other. And this, I think, is the original one, because this is a perfect fit for a Whitworth. Oh, by the way, I had a comment on the first video asking me if, because these were for in the States, whether the thread forms used would be SAE. Well, of course, they were all manufactured at the Enfield plant in Redditch, so they weren't. But the chap who asked me, who, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but I have trouble remembering the wife's name, mentioned Whitworth. And of course, particularly here in the States, everybody's got the Whitworth thing confused. It's just, they're all Whitworth. Now again, most of you probably know this, but Whitworth is just one thread form. It's the coarse thread. On the Enfield, all of these will be British Standard Cycle, which if we measured the threads, would be 26 threads per inch. Right from, I can't remember whether it's just a quarter or 3/16 all the way up to a half. There's a couple of odd ones, but basically they're all 26 threads per inch. So they could be Whitworth, they could be British Standard Fine, they could be British Standard Cycle, they could be BA if they're on a British bike. So don't just assume that they're all going to be Whitworth. Of course, Whitworth is the designation for the spanners, for the wrenches, and that's the difference there, is that SAE ones are measured from flat to flat on a bolt. Don't have a big bolt to hand. Well, that's too small. Are measured from flat to flat, whereas Whitworth ones are measured from point to point. That's why a 1/2 inch Whitworth spanner and a 1/2 inch SAE spanner are a different size. The Whitworth one always been a little bit bigger. I mean, look at that bolt. I'm saying look at that bolt. Can you see that bolt? Yes, you can. See how it sticks out? This one's the right length, and that one is so much longer. It's even got a spacing piece on this side actually, and it's still too long. So one wonders if that is going to be a, yeah. What's that? That's 9/16. Anyhow, the joys of working on a, where are we? This is, I'm not exactly sure what year this is. It's got to be late 50s. It says on the box of bits that came with the other bike 58. And I'm not certain, but I think it was about 54 or 55 when they started importing these. So could be anywhere from 55 to 59, I think. So let's go into the 9/16 here. Now I'm going to take these suspension units off, or shocks, as now seems to be the almost universally used term. And then the last little bits and pieces, the odds and sods, I will take off camera, as the technical term is. And the last thing we'll do in this second part of the dismantling video is we'll have a look at the parts we've taken off to see what we need to replace. Now there's an interesting thing. Both of these bolts have a flat on, so I wonder if this was a longer bolt because there's something that gets mounted on the inside on this side but on the other side. This is one of the few bikes, the Enfields. See, it's got a, you see that? It's got a flat on it. That I'll put that bolt in a box because it's got this spacer on it. What was I saying? Oh yes, that I don't have a manual for, or a parts book. So I will have to order one. There you go, see. That is not 9/16. That is Whitworth. Oh! Extra Weetabix I should have had this morning. No, Michael. There we go. Oh! Oh! Oh God. Did that take some getting off? Alright, there's another one. And as I say, that one's got a little flat on as well, so although the leaths are different, they're matching form. Now then, how's this going to be? Wow. Because these fixed bolts down here, they have a flat on as well. Okay, that's coming off. So we'll undo these little bits and bobs, and then of more interest, when everything's off, we will assess the parts we've got, and then as I say, it's when I like to start making my list. Works fine. Okay people, let me turn you off to these other little bits and pieces and we shall return anon. Now here's the complete bike dismantled. So let's have a closer look at what we've got here. The rear light, unfortunately, I don't know if we'll be able to get you to see this, just has a little bit of damage right there, which is annoying because other than that it's perfect. Headlamp shell, mountings, box, actually all of the tinware, including the mudguards down here, it's a bit dark in here but the man, they're all remarkably solid. Tank has some rust in, but again it seems very solid, so I'll just line that and then get sandblasted. Chain guard, no rust. There's our forks. Wheels, we'll do the wheels, both wheels and the forks in a separate video. I'll strip them to see what's what. The handlebars, I was looking in Hitchcock's catalogue and they've got a pair which are very similar in bend, I think, so we should be alright there. I didn't notice any of the Whiffletree brake levers, so I might have to, well I will contact them and then we'll go from there. If need be, I'll get the original ones re-chromed because they are in good condition, just rusty. Now one thing I have found is this. Now you'll notice the plate is still on there for the rear brake light switch, and actually it's been welded on. And the reason it's been welded on, let me see if I maybe shine a light on this to give you a better look, is because the actual lug there, you can see, yeah, let's give you some automatic focus, see what happens. There we go. You can see that the lug for mounting the footrest is kinked up to the left. You see on that one it should just stick straight out, but it doesn't. And in actual fact, I don't know if we're going to be able to see this. Can you see the brake? They've just welded it on one side, so I'll have to clean all that off and re-weld it. And that's about the only problem I've found with it. Oh, let me turn you off. So there we have it, all the various bits and pieces. Oh, the seat, the saddle base as well is pretty firm. So we'll call that it for this video. Next one, as I say, is going to be wheels and forks, and in the meantime I will get the frame and everything sandblasted, and then we'll paint it. So until next time, enjoy yourselves.